Peace and welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. First, folks, let's continue our coverage around the tragic situation of Tyre Nichols. It has now been reported that there has been over 20 hours, up to 20 hours of footage where we're seeing the brutality take place. We're going to break down some of the details of this footage and more. Let's talk a little bit about that. Also, folks, I'm going to share with you the latest about the issue that we're seeing, especially in the area of healthcare. We're going to talk not healthcare, but we're going to look at other national conversations about brutality, and we'll have those conversations and a whole lot more. So, folks, stay with us. We got a lot to get to. Let's jump right in. It's the culture here on the Black Star Network. All right, folks, welcome to the culture here on the Black Star Network. I'm your host, Farajii. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, folks, we got a lot to talk about. Of course, we're going to continue our coverage around Tyre Nichols, 20 hours of footage around the brutality of our brother. We're going to break it down for you. Plus, later on in a little bit, we're going to talk about National HIV AIDS Black Awareness Day. That's going to be coming up this month. So it's a great time for us to talk about sexual health and wellness. Later, we're going to be checking in with my guy, Scotty, for Off Script Sports to give us some insight in some of the big news, sports news stories. And of course, with Tom Brady retiring, two black QBs in the Super Bowl, and so much more. And I got a little special treat for you later on in the show, where we're talking about how one author is just taking his vision from a book into a series for children. So we'll have those conversations. All right, but first, let's jump right into the discussion around Tyre Nichols. We have been talking about the tragic case of our brother all throughout the week, and rightfully so, because there have been more developments in this case. Now, the last time we shared with you yesterday just some of the words and remarks that were made by some national leaders, Attorney Ben Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, Vice President Kamala Harris, around what's the next step. Now it has been reported that there is up to 20 hours of footage detailing this situation, the brutality of brother Tyre Nichols. Here's the latest from ABC News. I wanted to just share with you just a little bit of this headline. But this 20-hour footage is yet to be released, according to the district attorney there in Memphis. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy's office confirmed that there is up to 20 hours of additional footage in the case. It's not yet clear what that footage may show, but the timing of that release is up to the city of Memphis, with the city issuing a statement earlier this week saying that any additional video would be released in the next few weeks. I want to take a moment to have a little bit of a conversation around this, because I think it's interesting that they're piecemealing this whole situation out. And I wanted to talk to my brother, who is a diversity, equity, and inclusion specialist. He's also an activist and advocate, and he has been on the front lines, especially on the issue of police brutality. I want to welcome back to the airways my brother Shinedu Okorafor. Shinedu, my man, how are you, sir?
Hey, Farajii, I'm good. Good to be here with you.
Yeah, brother. Crazy circumstances all throughout the week around this case. Let's talk a little bit about this new announcement that's come out of Shelby County's District Attorney's Office, saying that there's really up to 20 hours of footage that is yet to be seen by the public, and that the city is saying that there's going to be released within the next few weeks. In a case like this, so sensitive, such a high-profile case, I'm wondering, Brother Shinedu, why didn't they just release the footage all at one time? Because it seems like if you start piecemealing it out, it only extends the pain. It only extends the discussion, as to what's going to happen next. it really doesn't bring any, and I think most of all, it does not bring any closure to the family, even after the funeral, even after yesterday's, after the press conference the other day. So why do you think that they're kind of piecemealing this whole process out?
It's a good question, and I would love to get benefit of the doubt, but we're not sure. If I'm not mistaken, I think this footage that they're releasing, if I'm not mistaken, is the footage from the mounted police security cameras that were actually within the confines of that area that was already there, because I think it's a high crime area or high trafficked area, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, here's what we all know. When things are recorded, whether it be your phone or a body cam, it takes nothing to upload. It takes nothing. I'm not sure what the thought process is, especially if this is not new evidence. I guess we would need to see and examine what point they're trying to make. It's good to get as much evidence as we can, but from the circumstantial evidence that we have already, if this is some type of ploy to downplay what we all saw and what we all know, that could be very, very dangerous. But I'm kind of trying to be on the side of erring on caution, to not let my emotions drive my cognitive thought.
Right. So I think that's a good point. I mean, you're saying that this could be a situation where, not to say that those officers were justified in the brutality of the brother, but giving us a more greater context, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm in agreement with you, Sinedu. That is super slippery. That is super slippery, right? And again, it's like we're still trying to recover from seeing the first set of the first few minutes of the footage. Now we're going to be hit again with something else, and it only is going to raise more questions. It's only going to, that's what I see happening. It's only going to raise more questions, especially if you have on that footage, and most likely this is going to be the part of the footage. Why didn't the ambulance take Tyre? Why did it take them so long to leave the scene? You know, are we going to see officers and paramedics standing around and talking while a man is bleeding and dying on the ground? And again, that's traumatizing. That's triggering, right? So I'm not quite sure how this situation is going to play out. Folks, I want you to join us in the conversation. Post your comments in the chat as we're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and on blackstarnetwork.com. But that's traumatizing. Real Brooklyn checked in on this. He said, look, it's probably has been edited. That's what Internal Affairs IA does in the Public Relations Department. Lord, there's only 24 hours in a day. These cops must have been doing the most to have 20 hours of this injustice. To release the footage in pieces sounds like it's a play to change the narrative. Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, I wonder if you tell me this if you think the same thing on this, Real Brooklyn. I wonder if the family has been privy to these 20 hours of footage. Now, Sinedu, you and I have both been a part of demonstrations and marches around police brutality, of course, with Freddie Gray in Baltimore and other police brutality cases. I'm trying to see, is this case going to go against the grain of how police brutality cases are handled, or are we going to still see the same old thing? The one thing that I can say that it may go against the grain on is the processing time to charge those officers. And as Ben Crump has been pushing and has been talking about, those 20 days, like trying to get some resolution to this issue within a 20-day time span. What's your take on that, bro?
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is yet another drop in the bucket. Like I said, I like to kind of try to keep my emotions out of it and just keep my cognizance up front, because I can recall having the same conversation when George Floyd, when Alton Sterling died, when Tamir Rice died, Laquan McDonald. I remember saying that this will be such a difference. And I think Laquan McDonald was as much as 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I think what's important here is that once precedence is set, once we have the data from that video. And I do want to make this clear. We're hoping that videos are not doctored, but I do think an editing of the video is important in the sense of truncating it, because the entire kerfuffle, if you will, with the police was not 20 hours. I think what's most important is about 30 minutes before everything started up to about 30 minutes after. I think that is a good range to see what was happening, what didn't happen, to see if people came back to the scene, to see, like you said, were the EMT folks just standing around? Were they instructed to stand around? Is there audio related to this, or is it just a visual representation? But I think I don't want to get into the business of making any comparisons between this and what has happened before. At this point, I would love to see the attorney take all of this data and make some of the greatest cases that he can make. But more importantly, that when the case is made, that this is now used as a springboard to assure that this is not happening. I think the questions that no one is talking about is the woman, I think she's a Black woman, who led the Scorpion unit. This same unit was disbanded in Atlanta, a very similar unit. My question becomes, if that unit was disbanded in Atlanta because it didn't match protocols, why was it allowed to be had in another district? Are police communities, are they communicating with one another? Are there a shared knowledge? You know, if I'm in California, I'm currently in Baltimore, but if I'm in California and I get pulled over, a police can look me up and know that I'm from here. But then my question is, when police units are disbanded, especially for egregious activities, are those informations not flagged somewhere in the law enforcement system? Like, we need to know things about that as well, so that we don't at least see the same thing happen again in this
Absolutely.
way.
Absolutely. Look, we got to take a quick pause. We're just getting into the conversation, folks. So join us in the discussion. Post your comments in the chat section on YouTube, Facebook, and Black Star Network. And stay tuned. We still got a lot to talk about, as we're just being told that there is up to 20 hours of footage of the brutality of Tyre Nichols. The DA has said it has yet to be released. However, the city of Memphis is also saying that they are planning to release it in the next few weeks. The question is, what will that footage show? We want to hear from you. Join us right now and stay tuned. We got a lot to get to here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com.
Folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. We've been talking about the latest that's came out of the Shelby County District Attorney's Office, where they have announced that there is actually up to 20 hours of footage of the interaction between 6 police officers and Tyre Nichols. 20 hours of footage that is yet to be seen, 20 hours of footage that is yet to be released. And according to city officials, they're saying that that footage may be released over the next few weeks. Now, some of us are wondering, what was going to be seen on that footage? Are we going to see the paramedics' response or the lack of urgent care that was needed for the moment? Are we going to see the brutality of Tyre Nichols all over again, re-traumatizing us once again? What will be shown on that footage that we haven't already seen? Now, some of us are already asking the question, are already saying this is good. This is a way to do some damage control. This is a way to change the narrative. My brother Damon, you checked in and you said, Farajii, this may be a way for them to influence the jury pool of the trials against those 5 Black police officers, and I see that, and I want to bring Sinead and Kwafor and back into the conversation around this, because I think that's the other good point, that if people are being exposed to this, right, it's like the city or even the district attorney may be putting it out there to create a certain sentiment around how they're going to create a sentiment so they can take that same sentiment into the courtroom. And so it's going to be interesting. But the greatest concern that I have about this whole thing, Brother Sinead, is taking our people, taking this community, taking Tyre Nichols' family through this process again from a different angle. You know what I mean? And you made the point saying that this is footage coming from a different camera. But I'm still pushing back on the idea of, like, what is the footage going to show that we don't already know? You know what I'm saying? What story is this footage going to tell us that we don't already know?
Yeah, and I think this, I try to be hopeful. I would also say, I think this footage, in my opinion, we already know that Attorney Benjamin Crump has an incredible case. I believe that this footage can even be more of assistance for him to push even further, because what the video that we have seen so far, it gives us the ocular proof of what has taken place. But a lot of other nuances as what happened before and what happens after, like when the EMT, that is all speculation. This video could finally be kind of the nail in the coffin for that. So I'm going to look in the hopeful direction, because we already know what the government, in this case the police department, what they're capable of doing. But I'm going to put all my hopes into Attorney Crump and his team, because I know that they're going to do something amazing with this.
That's true. I'm with you with this same hope, bro. I'm with you with that same hope as well. Janae, you checked in and said, geez. And this is the sad part, Janae. So sis, I'm right there with you. You said, geez, we can't even properly celebrate Black History Month or the culture because of this. It really does overshadow our being. I pray this year is less Black on Black crime. Here's to life. Right. I mean, we starting off the month talking about a Black man being brutally beaten by other Black men. This is how we start off Black History 2023. We start off the month with that. We literally started off the month at a funeral.
And I do want to make a contextual analysis here. It's very important that it is very, very true that those Black men were beating another Black man. But I want to be very clear that the system that they are participating in is white supremacy. And I don't want there to be any distinction between this, because folks have been using, you see Tucker Carlson talking about Black on Black crimes and so on and so forth. I just want to remind you all that in systems of white supremacy, if you ever watched the Django, you couldn't tell Samuel Jackson that he wasn't, quote unquote, a white person because he was benefiting from being there, even though he was still a slave. So I just want to be very clear that even though these were 5 Black men, that they were operating under the system of white supremacy, which also reminds you that if you are able to get into the proverbial house, that maybe you've done better. But as Jay-Z would say in 444, still nigga, either
right.
way.
Absolutely. Dejima, you checked in, you said this could be used to justify moving the case to a white suburbs like Rodney King being moved to Simi Valley, which is mostly white with lots of police residents. Right. It could be. It could be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the other part of that. You know what I mean? Like we got to look at the implications that this new footage or this particular set of footage will have on the trial. We got to look at it. Now, here's the thing. Now, you talking about 5 black police officers. I think each one of these black men will be convicted. I don't see them getting past this, right? It's obvious that they did what they did. They did it without any sense of humanity. They did it. The white cop, the 6th cop, and the 7th. We still don't know who the 7th cop is, but those two, but in particular the 6th cop that opened up the door, dragged Tyre out, and said on video, "I hope they stomped his ass." See, that's the one that I think might slide under the radar. That's the one that might get a hand slap versus everybody else getting jail time. And so I'm look, we're just right now we're kind of speculating, and at the same time we're kind of bracing for impact here, because I don't want us to become re-traumatized, or I don't want us to become re-triggered because they want to break this thing out over Black History Month, and it's so unfortunate, man. We're so unfortunate. We're celebrating values and culture and contributions that Black folks has made. At the same time, we have been forced to glorify Black death and pain. And so it's like, if there's going to be a clear sense of justice, then every single person on the scene needs to feel the consequences of their actions.
Absolutely, because the same way when a police officer pulls somebody over who has maybe marijuana in their car, and the people who are in the car who may have not been the owners of that marijuana are now implicated with intention to sell or intention to distribute. I think that same energy should be kept with that officer that opened the door, because at the very least, he uttered the words out of his mouth. He professed what he wanted to happen, which those other
he damn near gave an order.
There you go.
Now, I don't know what his rank is among the other officers, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like if you as a police officer, you should not even. And the craziness, I was watching something else. I think I was watching D.L. Hughley on the Breakfast Club. I was watching that earlier today, and it was the fact they were bringing up that these guys must have been doing this so much that they felt like they were invincible to be suffering the consequences, because they did this all on body cam, bro. They did all of this while the camera was on. So you mean to tell me that's just how? And I know one of the police officers had a history back in 2016. I'll pull up the name for you. But one of the officers, he had another incident a few years ago where he almost killed an inmate by beating him to death. You see what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me this is how you roll? This is what you do. And even though there's a body cam, there's a camera on a light post, there's a camera here and a camera there. You got other officers, maybe officers in authority. Even though all of that exists, you still felt like you could do this and you could walk away from it. Now that's crazy. That's crazy. That's the part about it, is like we're at a point where we were, remember Sinead when Freddie Gray was happening? Mm-hmm. And we were all calling for body cams on police officers in the state of Maryland. We were like, look, if they got body cams, no way in the world will they keep brutalizing us. No way in the world something's going to happen, because they're going to be seeing that body camera. Man, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, because it does play a huge factor in the legal proceedings. But just the fact that a person can still do something this egregious, even with the body cam on, that means you really don't give a damn. And that means that your department really don't hold these officers accountable.
Yeah, and we have to remember the body. Little did we know when we were in Maryland doing what we were doing, not only with the Freddie Gray situation, but even getting the law officer Bill of Rights changed. I think one thing we forget is that a body cam is a Band-Aid to a very deep subcutaneous gash. The issue here is that systems need to be changed, not just solutions on the outside. I think the issue becomes that the body cam is helpful, but what we're not addressing is the psychology of the police department, and more importantly, the psychology of those who police. It has always been within my belief that many people who have become police, especially those who are found guilty or found brutalizing people, in my opinion, I am not a practitioner in psychology, but it is my belief that these people may have some mental mishaps. These people may have had something that went on in their childhood, which makes them want to have power to dominate.
And then, you know what? Hey, Sinead, I'm fine with all of that, but I do know that in a cultural conversation, in the cultural space that we are, the moment you start bringing up mental health, then there is this clarion call that there should be leniency. The moment you bring mental health, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that's a very fine line that we need to have a conversation about, because I don't want to go into the history of these 5 Black police officers and figure out, oh, where was the trauma in your life? Where was, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, bro, you were a part of, you decided to become a police officer. Some of you decided to become a part of a fraternity. Some of you decide, I mean, come on, no. You need to be held accountable, because I don't want there to be leniency.
There should be no leniency. It's agreed. But I want to give you an example of why I say that. Think about this. 9/11 happened, right? We all know what happened. They grounded all planes after that. After that, an entire institution that never existed was created, and that's the Transportation Safety Administration, TSA. After that, the entire process of security at all airports in our country and anybody who's coming into our country, so worldwide, the entire infrastructure changed. That's basically what I'm leaning towards. The infrastructure. I'm not here to say that, oh yeah, what is their mental health now? No. What I'm here to say is, who are the people catching these people before they even become officers? What is their training? Who are the people that are training them? Are they being quarterly evaluated? Because I think prevention is always better than the cure. And I think this is a very important situation, and I don't want to lose its power. But if we're going to make a systematic, programmatic change, we have to figure out, why are these quote unquote bad apples allowed in the force in the first place? That is always my question.
Right. And that's a good point. Very quickly, it was released on Tuesday evening, and I want to, as we close this part of the discussion, it was released on Tuesday evening that 2 of these police officers, they have the former police officers, they were charged with murdering Tyre Nichols. They failed to document their use of force in prior cases. So that's one situation. And then you also had another pair of officers who were suspended from the department for other infractions as it relates to based upon some personnel records. So you got officers a part of this Scorpion unit who had problems. You give them more power. You give them more range, but they have problems. These ain't the top of the brass. These not the top of the class officers. These are the ones that are C's and D's in the class. And you tell them they got a special unit where they, get drugs or guns off the street. They got the Scorpion unit, or they had the Scorpion unit in Memphis. You talked about that unit in Atlanta. I think they call it the Red Dog unit. In Baltimore, we have the Gun Trace Task Force. These are officers, unfortunately, who already had issues, complaints, and problems. And we put them in special units, and then now they busting heads and killing people. And mostly they're comprised of Black men. So we haven't even talked about that part of the conversation yet. That if you got these specialized units, what is the culture? Do the training, do the accountability measures, do they not apply to these special units? another conversation at another time. Look, I got to take a quick pause, but we will certainly keep you posted about this whole situation. Stay with us. We're going to shift gears from talking about policing to talk about health. It is a National HIV/AIDS Black Awareness Day is coming up, and we want to give you the latest details about that. So stay with us. The conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Don't you think it's time to get wealthy? I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, and my new show on the Black Star Network focuses on the things your financial advisor or bank isn't telling you. So watch Get Wealthy on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Black Star Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Black Star Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, welcome back to The Culture here on the Black Star Network. I wanted to switch gears to now talk about health and wellness. If you did not know, as we're continuing to celebrate Black History Month all across this country, if you did not know, there's National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day that's going to be coming up very, very soon. So we're very excited to give you the latest details on how we can keep our sexual health at a good place. And here joining us this afternoon is Miss Chrissy Abrams Woodland, who serves as the director of the division of the Metropolitan HIV/AIDS program for the HRSA HIV/AIDS Bureau. Chrissy, thank you so much for joining us here on The Culture. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm still joined by my brother Sinedu. We're going to bring him into the frame as well to have a conversation, Chrissy, about something that, is somewhat being talked about. I mean, here on this show, we have talked about HIV/AIDS awareness all the time. We talk about, sexual health, but it's still a taboo subject in the Black community for a lot of different reasons. And I think it's interesting that as we are in a different culture of engaging and interacting with one another, dating culture, even in marriages, various types of relationships that people are having with one another at this point, there needs to be a serious conversation about AIDS and HIV, especially among Black folks. So I want to share with some data that HRSA has put together that I think is very appropriate for this conversation. Take a look, and I want to ask my man Keenan, we can show just a little bit of these of the stats around the issue of HIV/AIDS, and then Chrissy, if you could break these stats down. According to the CDC, in 2019, Black African American people accounted for 13% of the U.S. population, but 40% of people with HIV. Now, the new Ryan White HIV/AIDS program client level data showed that a record high 87.2% of Black African American clients receiving the HIV medical care are virally suppressed. This is a significant increase from the 63.3% viral suppression rate among Black African American clients in 2010. In 2021, about 46% of the more than 500,000 clients served by the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program were Black African American. And then take a look at this, folks. With access to healthcare support and appropriate medications, HIV has transformed from a deadly disease to a manageable chronic condition. Folks, there's a lot of stigma about it, but now people are actually living with HIV, living healthy, full lives with HIV. People with HIV who take HIV medication as prescribed and reach and maintain an undetectable viral load are considered virally suppressed and can't sexually transmit the virus to an HIV negative partner. And if current HIV diagnosis rate persists, about 1 in 2 Black men who have sex with men will be diagnosed with HIV during their lifetime. So there are some things, Chrissy, that I think that we need to kind of speak on based on these statistics. First and foremost, the work that you're doing, what is the grade that you would give Black America on where we are with this HIV/AIDS epidemic? Are we at a good place? Are we at an okay place? Or we're in trouble?
Well, you just said it. I think we're in trouble if we continue at the rate we're going. So we definitely need to improve our efforts, because still that disproportion it's a significant. So we're talking that proportion of Black and African Americans with the new diagnoses and people with HIV compared to other races and ethnicities is very, very significant. So we're not in a good place. While you've stated we have made some strides, we still have so much more to go. We have so much more work to do. We really need to get our communities educated about HIV so that they can get tested, so that they can know their status. I think one of the issues is too often we assume our status and we don't know our status. And that is the only way you're going to know your status is if you get tested. So don't assume, please know, get tested and have that piece of paper stating, what your results are. And then we have to take action after that, right? So if you test positive, as you mentioned on your slide before, there's viral suppression. We have medications that will suppress the virus, that will allow you to live a long, healthy life. And too often people are not aware or not taking advantage of this. So we really have to educate our communities about the medications and the treatment that's out there.
So the day that folks need to make themselves aware, I mean, every day you should make a decision on taking care of your sexual health and well-being. But this day, the National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, talk to us a little bit about what's going to be happening on that day.
So on February 7th is National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. And this occurs every year on that day. And for HRSA's Ryan White HIV/AIDS program, This day is an opportunity to acknowledge that disproportionate impact of HIV on Black and African Americans in the United States. And really, it's just an opportunity to raise awareness about HIV care, treatment, and support that's available through our Ryan White HIV/AIDS program.
So, and Sinead, I would love for you to jump into this conversation as well, brother, because, you know, there's a different culture around sexually transmitted diseases. And I'm sure, Chrissy, you've been hearing about it. Sinead, I'm sure y'all have been hearing about this situation. What is it in terms of our culture and the culture of dating and the culture of situationships? We have all of these like nuances to what a relationship looks like. Is this healthy for us to kind of you know, it's one thing to be in a space of, say, sexual liberation, right? That I think a lot of people are just kind of like at a point they don't want to be confined or restricted to who they can be with, how they are with this person. But there are some boundaries that should be established. Is that correct, Chrissy?
Yes.
She's like, yes, Farajii. Lord Jesus, we
definitely want to establish those boundaries. But as you say, in our culture, and people want to experience a little bit more of that freedom. So I want to remind you that we have pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is PrEP. And that's a daily pill for people who do not have HIV, but who are at a very high risk of getting it. And so if you take PrEP and are exposed to HIV through sex or even injection drug use, these medications are highly effective in helping prevent you from contracting the virus. So again, we know that, you know, you can't change everyone's lifestyle and the decisions that, you know, they make pertaining to their lifestyle, but we have tools. We have tools to prevent HIV. So we want to make sure we're tapping into that. So, you know, of course, you want to protect. You mentioned the sexually transmitted infections. PrEP is not going to protect you against that. So again, we would encourage the condom use that will protect you against STIs as well as HIV. But again, we have tools.
We have tools. And Sinead, I want to kind of get you from your vantage point, bro. Like, do you feel like the next generation is taking advantage of these tools? I was reading some articles recently about the changing sexual habits of young people. And contrary to popular belief, and I've read this, and so Sinead, I'm going to start with you, then Chrissy, I want to get your take on this. But contrary to popular belief, young people are saying they're not having sex quite as much as the previous generation in years. But it's a different type of level of intimacy. So how do we have these conversations about HIV, AIDS, STDs in a way that fits the culture of where we are with, especially with relationships?
I think it's a really important cultural conversation to have. And I do agree with that stat. I think this generation is having less sex, but they also have more tools that they're not using. When you look at the stats, according to a study done by the CDC in I think 2019, it said that men who have sex with men, for instance, 1 in 6 of them was the rate of folks who were becoming infected. 1 in 6 would have HIV, if you will. And the overall number, interestingly enough, of folks who were being diagnosed with HIV was going down between 2010 and 2016. However, in the African American community, from ages 25 to 34, it went up 65%. And I think in our culture, we have to kind of take away shame from the conversation of sex. We have to understand the Carfax, if you will, on ourselves. Know your status, and that's overall health. It's not just in the system of HIV, just in general. It's important to know your status and to have these conversations. This should no longer, in my opinion, be a hot ticket conversation. I have these conversations with my colleagues all the time, and the goal behind it is to let's decrease the uncomfortability, right? And let's make this because the thing is, whether you're uncomfortable or not, those numbers are not in our favor. So we have to kind of get away from that uncomfortability sense. I'll get this newer generation to use more of the tools that those who came before them would have killed to even have.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Look, we got to take another pause. Chrissy, I got more questions for you. Want to share more of your expertise around this. And folks, I want to hear from you. Post your comments in the chat as we are talking about National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day for Black folks. So continue the conversation. We'll continue on the other side and a whole lot more. So stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Folks, welcome back to the show. We are talking about National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day for Black Awareness Day. This is the day that will be celebrated on February the 7th. So next week, we are going to make sure that folks understand the importance and the value of having these conversations about getting tested, understanding where you are in your sexual health and wellness, and more importantly, understanding the consequences of having STDs and the implications that it will have on the community. Now, we've been having this conversation with Miss Chrissy Abram Woodland, who is in charge, who serves as the director of the Ryan White HIV program that's out of HRSA, which is a federal agency, to give us some insight about the work that they're doing to make us aware about this whole situation. And I'm also joined by my brother Shanadu, as we have this conversation. But I want to hear from you folks. Make sure that you post your comments in the chat. We'd love to connect with you and hear directly from you, your questions, your thoughts about where we are with HIV/AIDS awareness. Chrissy, I want to bring you back into the discussion about what Shanadu had brought up, which is this fact that we're still not comfortable. And you would think that after 40-something years of us understanding that this situation has been around, 40 years that we know that it's not just a quote-unquote gay community disease, 40 years of us having all of these resources, these new tools, even this new technology, now to take something that was once seen as a death certificate to being a manageable chronic condition, that we will be okay in talking about it. But we're not.
No.
We're not, Chris.
We are not. We are not there yet, which is why it's so important for you, Farajii, to continue to have these conversations, to continue to normalize them, because that is what we need. We need to normalize it. We need to normalize HIV testing. We need to normalize talking about HIV. It needs to be a normal part of our conversations, but we are not there. You are absolutely right. We are not there.
So in terms of Black folks, is this now a call to action for us to change our sexual behavior, our sexual habits, What is this call to action for? Because as we talk about HIV/AIDS awareness, right? Some people might say, "Oh, I'm beyond that." I'm older. I'm in a more stable relationship. I'm not out and about. This is for the next generation. This is for young people. We started the conversation off talking about the next generation. But is this a call to action for older folks as well?
This is a call to action for everyone, because our aging population, those numbers are increasing as well. People are living longer. So you have more of the over 50 population living with HIV, and they are still sexually active. So this is a call to everyone, every age group. We have to talk about this. We have to educate ourselves. We have to get tested. We have to know our status. We have to take appropriate action. Whether it's if you're positive, like I said, getting into care, getting on a medication, your treatment, or, seeking out PrEP. You talked about behaviors and changing our behaviors. And as I mentioned before, we can't force behavioral change. But again, we have tools to help prevent HIV with whatever your choices are, your lifestyle choices.
What does Chrissy and Sinead, you may have heard of something on this as you work in a human relations space for workplaces. Is there any new pieces of legislation, any new policy that is promoting this, particularly to Black and brown communities, marginalized communities that have been impacted the most by AIDS and HIV? Is there anything coming from political leadership around this? And Chrissy, I'll start with you on that one.
So okay, perfect. Yeah. So I will say in 2020, the Ending the HIV Epidemic initiative was enacted. And with that, in the HIV epidemic, that initiative, it's focused on those jurisdictions that are mostly impacted by HIV. And based on the stats that you just provided earlier on, that includes our Black and brown communities. And so with this initiative, our Ryan White HIV/AIDS program providers are really focusing services and kind of innovative models to reach the people we haven't been successful in reaching through our program thus far. So yes, a lot of the efforts through that initiative and within our Ryan White program as a whole, because we do, serve nearly 40% of our clients identify as Black or African American, are focused on the Black and brown communities. So that is one initiative that we do have in place. It was a 5-year program. It started in 2020. It will end in February of 2024. As of right now, that's the end of the first 5 years. But we do have many of our jurisdictions that are severely impacted by HIV, really focusing some efforts on the Black and brown community.
So we got a few moments left, Chrissy, but let's talk a little bit about how do we, I know we're talking about this level of awareness, having the show, having this conversation, but what other steps is HRSA and the work that you're doing? How else can you get the word out? Because I'm going back to that original statistic that I quoted from the CDC, with 13% of the population, but 40% of those people with HIV. That's pretty sizable, considering the fact that we're not the majority in this country. So we still got a lot of ground to cover and a lot of people's minds to change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. RyanWhite.HRSA.gov is our website. And it has lots of information about our program as a whole, but also at the bottom of that page, there's a Find a Provider link. Where if you click on that, people can enter their city, zip code, or address, and it will populate all of the Ryan White providers in your area that are near you. And this is just to remind everyone that the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides care for free or at low cost. So we are providing the care and the services, the treatment, the support services, the wraparound services, everything that is needed to keep someone in care and maintain, their health status and health outcomes are available through this program.
Mm-hmm. And Sinead, and when you're talking about the workplace in the work setting, how should companies, particularly small business owners, Black owners, right, of various companies, how should they have these conversations with their workplace? First and foremost, is it appropriate? I don't want to cross no paths, cross no lines, but is it appropriate?
It is not, I wouldn't say it is not directly appropriate. However, in different organizations, you have things like human resources, HRBPs, human resources business partners, or you have things like ERGs, employee resources groups, which may be LGBTQ led or Black led or Asian led, et cetera, and they may bring these type of things up where we then call in professionals that can now give an insight, but we do not lead with this information. It's not quite appropriate for the workplace. But I will also like to kind of touch on what Chris said also earlier. On top of Ryan White, for all those who are listening, please, if you've never heard of the name Ryan White, please Google that name, and you'll understand why the work that the Ryan White the clinics, what they do is so important for multiple communities. But also, I do want to make sure that we shout out that there's a lot of, beyond the government, a lot of the pharmaceutical companies, whether it be Gilead Science or ViiV Healthcare, they are very steadfast in giving those dollars to those targeted demographics and make sure that those targeted demographics are the ones who are the workers who are reaching the folks that the stats say that are, at most at risk. So there is so much going on from our federal government as well as multinational healthcare companies and that are funding a lot of local work. I just think, and I will close on this, I think the biggest issue here is that we have to, as a Black people, we have to look in the mirror and say, what is more important, our health and our life or our shame?
Come on, Sinead. Come on, Pastor. Come on, Pastor. There we go. Let me ask you, always dropping some jewels. Very quickly, Janine, one of our online culture crew members, she said, she finds it interesting that HIV is no longer talked about in hip-hop Black music. We went from TLC Waterfalls to Megan Thee Stallion's Hot Girl Summers. I'm sure that's on purpose. The cultural implications of this, the cultural conversation about this, Chrissy, we're not seeing it anymore. I mean, I remember, if we go to what they call the golden age of hip hop, so it was more talk about, protecting yourself and all of those things, but we're just not hearing those messages. How important is it that we should hear those messages from our entertainers about something that's been around for 40 plus years that we should all be aware of?
No, I think it's very important because, one, you talk about hip hop, that's where our young folks are turning to. That's where they're getting their information, and so if we can get our artists on board with educating, with talking about this and bringing this back to the forefront, we can start enacting some of that change, some of that, again, normalizing this conversation, as Sinead just said, so that we can get away from the shame of it. And so it's very important, I think. And some areas have actually started, trying to shift and go into that direction. I know that I was just for work down in New Orleans, Louisiana, which happens to be my hometown. And their campaign for ending the HIV epidemic, their spokesperson is Big Frida. And the campaign is called kind of Bounce to Zero. So they're using, the faces of the city and the music and the culture of the city to try to reach people.
And it's got to be done. I mean, it's got to be done. And Black music, Black culture is the dominant influence right now in this country and around the globe. And so when you do have artists and when you do have certain voices saying certain things about, health and well-being, I'm thinking about just outside of the sexual health space, the conversation around mental health that has exploded because so many artists, in particular Meg Thee Stallion and many others, have said, you know what, I've suffered depression, I've suffered from anxiety, I've suffered from all of these mental health conditions. And so, you got to get therapy, you got to get, see a professional, you got to talk about these things. So I know that it works. My hope is that we can get back to a place where it's just as much as we're talking about mental health in that fashion, we can get back to sexual health. Because now in a time where people are saying, you know what, they're throwing off gender identities. They're throwing off all of those restrictions about types of relationships. We still have to be very, very cautious, intentional, and careful about how we move forward. Chrissy, what's the best way that people can get more information about the National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day happening on February 7th?
Yeah, again, you can go to our website, ryanwhite.hrsa.gov, for all of our information. And
it is right there.
Yep, there it is. And Farajii, I just want to thank you for continuing to use your platform to get this message out, because it's very important. It's going to take the community. It's going to take a community response to end the HIV epidemic. You know, as we say, the village has to rise up. So I'm hoping, and I challenge your listeners to, talk to at least 3 people about HIV and about getting tested. And if you have to, go with someone. Sometimes people just need to know that they have that one person that they can trust, who will be their support system to overcome any of those fears and anxiety that they may have around it. But at the end of the day, as a community, we have to rise up and take action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chrissy Abrams-Woodland, we appreciate you. We thank you so much for coming on the show and being a part of this conversation. Folks, make sure y'all go online, follow them, check them out at the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program from HRSA. And they're doing a phenomenal job trying to get our people more aware about this serious situation that is still a threat to our community. Again, check this out. 13% of the population, 40% of the U.S. cases. We got a lot of work to do. Chrissy, thank you so much for being so good for the culture today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. Sinedu, thank you, brother. I truly, truly appreciate you as well for checking in on this Friday afternoon. And God willing, we look forward to reconnecting with you sometime next week, brother.
Thank you. God bless.
Absolutely. Folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's check in with my guy, Scotty. Off Script Sports is coming up next. We got a lot to talk about. A lot is happening in the sports world. And my man Scotty got all the answers. Stay with us. That conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in Black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
An angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage. as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. We're going to now check in with my man Scotty of Off Script TV to give us the latest in all of this stuff that's happening in the sports world, folks. And it is a lot to take in. Just this week alone, we saw some top stories that have emerged from a white QB being courted by an HBCU to come to the HBCU to play for their football program. We want to talk a little bit about two black quarterbacks being in the Super Bowl at the same time and the history-making moment that has presented. Tom Brady has retired, and how Steph Curry has said, I need to distance myself from some residents. My man Scotty, let's check in with him this afternoon. Scott.
What's up, brother? Black History Month, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's Black History Month. Let's go. Come on, man. I'm in here. Let's go.
My man Scotty from Off Script TV, folks. Make sure y'all follow him on YouTube, on IG, and all social media platforms. But Scotty, let's talk about this first story. This story right here really got me. A white quarterback, he was offered a scholarship to an HBCU, and then essentially it was rescinded. This is the story of Marcus Stokes. He is a high school quarterback out of Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. He's considered to be one of the top high school quarterbacks in the country. He was offered a scholarship. He was offered a scholarship by Alabama State University. Albany State University.
And Alabama A&M, they offered him as well.
Okay, so boom, there we go. However, here's the problem. A video came out of Marcus Stokes rapping along some lyrics in his car. I guess he was by himself. And in him rapping, he can be heard rapping, "Welcome back, N-word." As a result of that, he was also offered a scholarship from the University of Florida. They rescinded that offer once this video of him, this is from November of 2022, this video popped up, and then people saw it. University of Florida said, nope, we're not bringing you. You use the N-word. No, sir, we don't want that smoke. So we're not taking it. But Albany State University say, come on over. It wasn't until this video came out that students and other folks in that HBCU community that said, what the hell are you doing? And this was to the Coach Quinn Gray, the head coach there. And he put out a statement. Take a look at what Coach Quinn Gray said about this situation. And Keena, let's put that quote on. Let me just share with you what this coach said out of Albany State. He said, let me start with a humble apology, an apology for not honoring the tradition and history of ASU and for letting many of you down. I didn't uphold the Ramley standard that I know you expect. Please know that my decision to speak with a student that did not meet your expectations was unacceptable. I only wanted the best for our team, athletes, and institutions when I invited the student to visit ASU. As I say to our players, there is consequence to their reaction. The consequences of my actions brought pain to our university. I was trying to help a student get back in competition, and in my haste, I did not consider the impact the decision would have on all of you. Frankly, it wasn't my place to use ASU as the platform for redemption in this case. I regret that I used flawed judgment. If given the opportunity, I will do better. This is from Quinn Gray, ASU head football coach. What do you make of this, Scotty?
Hey, no solo shot, because I want to get your expression on this. No solo shot. First of all, how in the blue hell are we going, as a people, we going to say, he says the N-word, the PWI say, hey, we can't touch you. And then the black schools open your arms up and say, hey, yo, come on here. We'll take you. The reason they kicked you out is because it was a derogatory term. Now, this is what I said on my channel. If it was anti-Semitic, if it was anti-Asian, if it was anti the alphabet gang, nobody would have touched them. It would have been complete and utter, you are just gone. But why is it always with black people, we're always the one giving the pass? Like, oh, it's not that bad. It's a derogatory term to us, and we're the first ones to offer you. There's over 200-300 PWIs you could have went to. Take your butt to BYU and get a Christian education. Go to Abilene Christian. Go to, I don't care where you go. Why you got to go with the brothers? Man, like, it didn't make sense to me, because to me, I look at it like this. When does football and morals, where does it separate? Because I'll give you an example like this, Farajii. If he would have said it to a black person directly, everybody would be like, oh, no, we can't bring him. It's the same word. It don't matter how you use it. It's the same word. If I rap it, if I'm a white person rapping it, if I'm a white person and I say it to another, I'm using the same word. So to me, when I tell you, bro, I didn't understand how people were like, oh, he's a great football player. Let's bring him in. That's not how that works. He's taking a scholarship from a young black person that could have the same opportunity that didn't say, come on, man. Like, this ain't even rockets. Like, I was so befuddled. But what was going on in the HBCU community? People were like, oh, we should give him a second chance. What? Yeah, at a white school. Do that at a white school. I'm sorry.
Did Marcus Stokes ever apologize for the use of the word, or for? As far as you know, because I didn't see any apology.
I ain't seen no apology either. I ain't seen no PR press. Hey, I'm this, I'm that. I apologize. Was messed up there.
I'm a fan, but I was out of line on saying a word.
None of that, because listen, for all you white people out there, you have white privilege, and it just comes with you. It just comes with you. It's like when you wake up and we be black. That's white privilege. It just doesn't leave you, because that's when you don't apologize for something like that, when you don't take the initiative to stand on it and say, hey, that's not me. That's not who I am, blah, 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 blah. Because you know where he's at right now? West Florida. He's at West Florida, gave him a scholarship and everything, a D2, a white school. Somebody was going to come get him. It didn't have to be somebody black. That was my whole thing.
So what do you make of this? Because now, like, we've been talking about HBCU football programs over the past week, of course, with Ed Reed, Deion Sanders. Now it seems like these football programs all across the country are just like, yo, whatever. We're trying to win. We're trying to get some money.
That's most football programs. But to me, as a black institution, there has to be something to say, we don't need to go there. It's too much talent in the world for us to have to subject ourselves to going to get a white quarterback who lost his scholarship at a PWI and is coming down. I don't care about. Listen, if you want to make him a walk-on, you want him to earn that with a walk. Cool, I ain't got no issue with that.
Don't make him a starter.
Don't make him a star. Don't give him a scholarship and take another opportunity away from a young black kid that can play the same position given the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? If you want him to walk on and do racial insensitivity and all that, oh yeah, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But to offer him a scholarship, to be like, you're so good, we want you to go to here for free. So you're gonna reward him. Come on now, you're gonna reward him for saying the N-word and give him come on, that don't even make sense. Like, what are we talking about, man?
So I mean, it seems like it's Scotty. And look, I'm with you. I am totally with you. I hate the word when black folks say it to other black folks. I hate the word just in general. I hate it. there's a larger conversation that I think that needs to be had. We don't have time to talk about it today, but the larger conversation is that the word is used in music for the public. And we can't say to anybody, if we're putting it on wax, if we're putting it in a public space, then how can we really get mad that young white people say it? Because we say it with no impunity. We say it with, but the moment a white person say, no, you don't have the right to say that. White people came up with the word. Because we didn't call ourselves that.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna keep it.
They came up with the word first.
I'm gonna give it a buck.
Now we quote unquote say we're gonna take ownership of the derogatory term, and we're gonna take it back. No, give it up. Don't take it back. Give it up. So I think that's the other part of the conversation, right? But we know that there is a huge number of young white hip hop fans. We can't go into it, but to your point, it's the fact that we do, like Coach Gray completely just dropped the ball, all pun intended. Like, bro, you completely looked for the dollar signs. Like, that is a slap in the face. Now, does he need to step down in your opinion because of that?
Nah, I mean, he got overzealous and wanted to win. It's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You got overzealous. You wanted to win. I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't ask him to step down. But I'm going to go back to what you said earlier. Listen, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I use it. Okay? I ain't even going to hold you. You know, I ain't even going to act like I'm too up here. No, I use it. Okay? I be saying, hey, you know, I say ninja on my channel, though. I say ninja. But, right. You know what I'm saying? But this is my thing. Life is double standards. Let's not act like life is not double standards.
That's true.
Men sleep with a bunch of girls. We a player. Women sleep with a bunch of guys. They're not.
Right. We drag them through the mud.
You see what I'm saying? Life is full of double standards. So I'm gonna use my double standard. And when I see a white person say it, I'm gonna look at you crazy. You about to get knocked out. It's just that simple. Because this is my thing. People like trying to make excuses. Well, you know, maybe he didn't know. No, you know. No, you know, because you're not gonna go up to some random black person and sing like, you know, oh my, you ain't gonna do all that.
Right.
You know what it is. You just felt comfortable enough that you said it, you put it on tape, you put it on wax, as I say, and it got out. That's on you. But life is full of double standards. Now, I think black people have the right to say whether I want to use it or don't use it, or they can look disparagingly upon somebody for using it. I get that, but white people, if you want to enjoy our music, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you got to respect the rules. So
you got to respect the rules.
Okay. He went too far. Now, I don't know if he's a racist or if he just got caught up in the moment. I don't know. We can't tell. But again, here's the least he could have done since all of this happened. Is come up with an apology.
You know what I'm saying? At least.
If you put a video out saying it, you could put another video out saying, I'm sorry.
Too easy.
Oh, I got to take a quick pause. When we come back, let's talk about some other quarterbacks.
Let's get it.
Let's talk about some other quarterbacks. Got my man Scotty from Off Script TV. Got you. Folks, stay with us. It's The Culture here on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Folks, welcome back to the show. Checking in with my guy, Scotty from Off Script TV, talking about all things sports. Scotty, I want to share with you just a remark because we're going to talk about some other quarterbacks, but I think my online culture crew, they bring up some great points. My sister Janine said, I think it's foolish to remove the white boy from the school if he's in his car alone, and not calling anyone directly the N-word. It is what it is. Be mad at the rappers. She also said, now, if he recorded himself singing the song, then I get removed. He did record himself singing the song.
he recorded himself.
He recorded himself singing the song.
What are you talking about?
I get what you said, though, Janine. It's like, if you can't stop. If you alone in your car, windows rolled up, and you doing your thing, it's like, we can't penalize you for that. But it opens the door to the double standard. And I'm going to blame the rappers. I'm going to just stand on that course. I'm going to blame the rappers. That's all it is. So, yeah, I wanted to bring it out there. All right, let me talk about some other quarterbacks. 2 black quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, my guy Patrick Mahomes. 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. And Conscious Thought, my guy, he checked in and he said, is it me or is the image of 2 black NFL quarterbacks set to start in the Super Bowl in the same year that the so-called greatest NFL quarterback, Tom Brady, retires, one that signals a new era?
Come on, man. That's fine. That's legit right there. That's legit. I'm with that. Listen, that's a good way to start off Black History Month, baby. Let's go on with it.
Thank you, Conscious Thought.
Yeah. Bro, that's as real as it can get because you're seeing the trend of, it's funny, everything that, the league is going to is what black quarterbacks naturally do well. Mobility, run, improvisation. Like, that is what they do well. And it's funny now you're trying to find Caucasian guys that are black, but you can't because that's what we do, baby. We out here running, gunning, and slinging that thing. So I'm loving it because, Farajii, 10, 12 years ago, the Eli Mannings, the Ben Roethlisbergers, the Peyton Mannings, the pocket passer, the Drew Brees, that is obsolete now. It's obsolete. You have the Dax, you have the Lamars, you have the Deshaun's, you have the Jalen, the Patricks. You can go on and we can go on and on. Even Josh Allen, that white boy be running. So it's you. The black quarterback is actually now becoming the standard, and the flag bearer is Patrick Mahomes.
I'm sorry. Hey, yo. Whoo.
That's a bad boy. Bad boy. I'm telling you, Patrick Mahomes.
Hey, I don't care. Look. Y'all know I'm a Ravens fan. I love Lamar Jackson. So y'all know that. He's from Florida. I get it all. Patrick Mahomes is a silent assassin.
He different.
You don't see him too much except on them Jake State Farm commercials, right? You see him with them commercials. Them just be funny.
Earl with right in the front.
But he gets on that field, hey Scotty.
He a problem.
He don't play no games, bro.
He a problem.
The last game he played, that man ran on a busted ankle. And he throwing bullets and bombs. And then he gets off limping. And you know what I'm saying? Just with his one up is like we going one more, guys. Like
the only thing
he is one of the great 27 years old,
killing.
This young black man is killing the game. How many times? Look, he's been in the league for how many years, Scotty? 5, 6?
No. He's been in for 6 years. He started for 5, and every 5 years, every year he's been in the AFC Championship. Every year he started, he's been in the AFC Championship.
And look, check this out. So he recently did a conversation with. He'd had an interview. He said, "You remember the Bucks and of course the Chiefs. Tom Brady and the Bucks beat him. He was devastated. You can clearly see." He said after that Super Bowl, him and Tom Brady have actually started building a relationship together. And he talks to Tom Brady all the time. He said he looks at Tom Brady as his mentor, like as one of his mentors. That's the passing of the torch. And I think back to Conscious Thought point, we are going to see a new era. You know what I'm saying? Like Tom Brady retired. And look, I get what people might think of his politics. You cannot take it from that man. That man is one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history.
But you see it coming down the pipeline. C.J. Stroud, black. Tua Tagovailoa, black. Bryce Young. Like, you see this trend. Like, even in college, it's becoming a trend of top level black quarterbacks playing at elite levels and going to get drafted high, which they are going to be franchise pieces in the NFL. It's literally going to be a shifting of the guard to where you might have 16 to 20 teams actually starting a black quarterback, which is, like I said, 10 to 15 years ago, you would have thought that was like crazy. You would have never heard of that. But let me say this. The one thing I do not like about Patrick Mahomes is that man's wife. That man's wife is so annoying. I just wish she was a sister. That's the only thing I wish. I wish he would have married a sister. But other than that, I can't knock nothing about that.
You know what? I can't get mad at who you love, bro.
I can, because she annoying. Like, and it's not even a sense of like him loving a white woman. I ain't got no issue with that. It's like she be talking trash, like she be on the field. I'm like, ma'am.
Hey, man.
Ma'am, you understand.
He's the number one beneficiary of his victories.
I can't rock with that. Can't rock with it. I'll be like, man, you need to sit down somewhere. You need to sit down somewhere.
Man, look, my wife will go hard in the paint too. Like, I get it.
Now you gotta sit down.
Patrick Mahomes. Here's the thing, though. And it's just like Patrick Mahomes. He's 27. He's a young man. The thing about Patrick Mahomes that I think works for him is stability. And people don't understand that when you're a young man, you don't have to have, like, he has a whole family, right? He's surrounded by good people. He got a strong team. He has his parents by his side. He has a sense of stability, right? So he's not out and about trying to do, you know what I'm saying, running the streets and all of that stuff, man. Look, he's like, look, I'm going to get this paper early. I'm going to get it, and it's going to be long because I don't know how long I'm going to be in this situation. I'm going to make my mark, and then once I leave, then the doors flood wide open. But he's looking at the big game. He's looking at the long game on this thing. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Same thing for Jalen Hurts. We might see something different. Real quick, Scotty, on the piece of race in NFL, because, we often talk about this, because you got these two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, does this change the conversation around race in the NFL? Do you think the NFL is finally going to just turn the tide a little bit, bro?
Listen, it's not about turning a tide. Listen, the NFL is about winning. And if a black quarterback gives me the best chance to win, they do not care. Like, at the end of the day, you just want to win. But what I really want to focus on is black fathers. Both of these young men have their fathers in their life, like their fathers. Because, what bothers me, and it doesn't bother me, but it's just like if they had single moms, like it'll be like, oh, he lived like this. It was a single mom. Both these dudes got their fathers in their life, black fathers at that, and they have grown these men in, like, Patrick Mahomes' dad was a baseball player. Jalen Hurts' dad was he's a high school coach down in Texas. And these guys have groomed their sons to be professional, no off the field issues. I think Jalen Hurts has an all black women media management team. Like, it's a beautiful thing to see in the totality of everything. So yes, I believe the NFL is going to change the look on how they view black quarterbacks and black talent.
Yeah,
going forward. But we also need to give credence and kudos to both of these black fathers.
Oh yeah,
who have matured these men and to be in the position that they are now to really set history in the NFL.
Absolutely. My guy Damon Blissett, he said Farajii Patrick Mahomes is part owner of the Kansas City Royals and has invested in lots of businesses in that part of the country. So he's thinking. And I'm look, man, that's the type of quarterback that you want to see. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the NFL needs.
Absolutely.
The NFL know that Patrick Mahomes is really the guy.
Oh, he's the face.
He's the face. They know it. Because when you go on any type of NFL programming, his image is one, along with, it might be him. You don't see Tom Brady anymore. You see him. You might see Lamar. You might see
Aaron Donald, you know what I'm saying? Justin Jefferson, you know what I'm saying? Like
Patrick Mahomes is the leading quarterback.
Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah,
he's the guy.
Yeah.
He understands that, but it's it's the support system around you that determines the situation. Let me go to this very quickly. We're going to shift from Tom Brady. Tom Brady retiring. What's your take on that real quick, Scotty?
Oh, you should have did that last year when your wife was telling you to take your ass home, like, and she divorced you because of it. Like, bro, like, it's too late. Might as well kept playing. If she divorced you because you wanted to go back. Now you ain't got no family to go home to. Keep playing. Just keep going. Just keep going. All right. What you want me to say? You could have went down to Miami. Houston probably would have took him. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just keep going. Like, just keep going. Just keep going.
We got a couple of moments left. Scotty, talk to me about this whole Steph Curry situation. Apparently, we're going for somebody who wants to distance themselves from the game. Steph Curry is now, him and his wife have been fighting in Atherton, California, the city of Atherton, California, because the city wants to build some affordable housing units, 16 townhomes right near where Steph Curry, Ayesha Curry, and their family lives. And the problem is that these are townhomes that you can literally see into the line of sight of Steph Curry's home. And so now Steph Curry and Ayesha Curry has sent a letter to the city council of Atherton, California, saying, look, can there be another plan? Because we are very concerned about the public view and the safety of our family being in the line of sight. Can there be a fence erected? Can something be done? Because these are affordable housing units. Can you imagine that? Here you are, a family. You're like, oh, I'm going to live. Atherton, where they live, is considered to be one of the most expensive zip codes in the United States, not just in California, in the United States. It's about 30 minutes outside of where the Golden State Warriors play. Can you imagine living in an affordable house next to Steph Curry's house? You can see like his house.
It might be the way I process stuff, but that's selfish of Steph Curry. You can move anywhere. You can move anywhere. Like I don't feel sorry for Steph Curry because you have the financial ability to pick your family up and move out of Atherton, go wherever you want to go. These families get an opportunity. Think about the school districts. When you're going to a place where it's the most expensive place to live, do you know what them schools probably look like? The opportunity for these young men and women and kids to have an opportunity to go to a top-notch school or anything like that, or be in that environment around those people, the connections you might make, the networks. Listen, I'm sorry. I don't feel no type of way for Steph Curry, bro. No, bro. Move. If you don't like it, move. They shouldn't. You're talking about, you think you're that important as an athlete that shoots a basketball, that you're going to take away, let's say, 10 homes for 10 families? Steph Curry, you're not that important. You're not that important. I'm just, it don't.
So what about the safety concern?
You can move. He can move. If he can't move, he can get security. Listen, there are so many ways around this thing that Steph Curry shouldn't be the one worried about the inconvenience. It's the families that you're trying to stop from allowing them to get in there is their inconvenience. You get what I'm saying? So Steph Curry pay for his inconvenience. The other thing, this is an opportunity. I can't miss on the opportunity. Yeah. I can't respect that, bro. I like Steph too. I do like Steph. I like
Steph too. I like Ayesha. Yeah. I understand their point, but you're making a better point too. I'm always, look, this is America. I'm tired of capitalism. I'm tired of how we put some people up here and some people down here. You know what I'm saying? Like, the disparity is real, especially out here in California. So I get it. People want to get away from people. And I understand. Again, I understand the public safety element. But, part of this deal was because the city of Atherton have made a deal that they would construct a certain number of affordable homes. And so they're looking at spaces, and you just happen to be in the line of sight of the city, Steph. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like, think about that. Like,
16 homes, folks. There's only 16 townhomes. This is not like
it's not like an apartment building. Like, it's not like a 300 apartment building. You know what I'm saying? Like, some crazy like that. But think about it. This city has done a study probably done their research, probably seen the disparity of wages and gaps, and they're like, hey, we don't want to be a part of that problem, because anybody who knows the living cost in California is just outrageous.
That's it. It's outrageous, bro.
Outrageous.
Trust and believe, I know. It's outrageous. And the mayor here in Los Angeles, she's trying to fight it. Mayor Karen Bass, she understands it. She's from LA, so she knows that it's outrageous. It's too much. And when I say that everything else in California is pretty decent in comparison to other places, gas, food, and pretty decent. Once you get to rent and mortgage, whoop, bruh. I'm telling you, there's a reason why we got 41,000 people homeless in the city of Los Angeles.
Do that again. Do that.
Like, what, bruh? You just like, you look at the rent and you be like, you're from the East Coast. You just be like, yo, I can give me a damn house. You talking about 200 square foot, bro? And oh my, if it wasn't beaches, if it wasn't for the beaches and the mountains and the sunshine, it'd be like,
I'm gone. I'm dipping. Like, man, come on, man. Like, oh, man. Steph Curry.
It's like LA, man. It's a beautiful city. It's like, I call it like rugged beauty. LA is like one of them rugged beauty cities, man. I love it, but it's at the same time, you're like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah,
this is crazy. And so, to your point, I definitely understand. Scotty, I appreciate you, bro. Where can people find all of that you say and the craziness that you bring to the game?
Hey, man, you know how I get down. Hey, you can find me on YouTube, Offscript TV. I'm actually going live at like 5:05. So if anybody after you, I watch my boy Farajii, I can come over to Offscript on YouTube.
Come on, man.
We talking about some crazy stuff as always. You already know. And listen, if you don't like nothing I say, you know what they can do, Farajii?
What's that?
You can unfollow me, okay?
I'll follow you. There it is. My man Scotty, Offscript TV. Check us out. Check him out on his YouTube page, on Instagram, and certainly you can check him out here on The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Scotty, good to talk to you. Talk to you soon, brother. Peace. All right, folks, we got to take a quick pause. When we come forward, let's talk about there is a new superhero coming to town, and I'm going to check in with one author about how that superhero is going to be making himself known. Stay with us. That conversation is up next here on The Culture on the Black Star Network.
Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. For our final conversation, I wanted to talk to someone that has taken the culture game and taken our view of superheroes to a whole new level. I want to welcome now our final guest, Yaba Baker. Yaba Baker is the founder and president of Just Like Me World and is the author of the Super CJ books. Yaba, thank you so much for checking in and being here with us on the Culture on the Black Star Network. We truly appreciate it.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Yaba, you are doing some great work in the area of children's, I would say children's entertainment, because of the work that you're doing. You started your company Just Like Me World, and your company is now moving in a direction of redefining what it means to be a superhero. You have your book, your children's book, your comic book rather, Super CJ. Talk to us a little bit about Super CJ and the big news that you guys are doing.
So Super CJ was created specifically to address the lack of representation in the superhero genre. But I didn't just want to do a Black superhero. I wanted to do something that can represent the complexities of young Black males. And Super CJ is the strongest boy in the world. But when he gets angry, he loses his powers. And so there we're trying to teach young men, young women that we usually make the worst decisions when we're angry. You got to calm down first and then make that decision. Now we've taken the book, raised some money, and now we're doing our first animated series. We're in full production right now. You can see the trailer at Just Like Me TV. We should be out in the next 6 to 8 weeks. We should be producing that show and putting that show out. So
there we go. That's what I want to say. Look up. It's a word. It's a plane. No, it's Super CJ.
That's right. That's right.
To a city near you. I want to play for you the trailer that you guys have put out. I think this is phenomenal, brother. The work that y'all doing, and it's good to hear that this new show is going into production. Folks, hold on to your seats. We're going to show you just a clip of what Super CJ is bringing to the small screens. Check this out.
How did I get here? I was just an average good kid walking my dog Rex.
Wait, good kid? Didn't you just get in trouble at school?
Yes, but that other kid started it. And hey, why would you bring that up now?
The people deserve to know all the facts.
Anyway, as you can see, my dog can talk. We were given superpowers to save the world. It seems like the world is going crazy with thousands of possessed children. Fireball is chasing me. Statues of presidents coming after me. It is an epic battle of good versus evil. If we don't win, the earth will be destroyed.
Don't miss the world's newest superhero, Super CJ, the strongest boy in the world, coming in 2023.
Excuse me? You forgot to mention his super dog Rex? Wow! Seriously, the disrespect. Still, in 2022, the dog discrimination is unbelievable.
Don't miss Super CJ and his super dog Rex, coming in 2023.
Better. But I still need to talk to your supervisor about some dog sensitivity training.
It was a little choppy there at the beginning, but if you go to YouTube, it won't be choppy like that. I think something connection issues happen there, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
First and foremost, hey, y'all, but this is a huge accomplishment, bro. For you to even put something like this together, to have your team put something like this together. We see, if you grew up in the 80s, you grew up in the 90s, you grew up now, like comics and cartoons have evolved in so many different ways. And so now to have a Black boy serving as a superhero, talking about good and evil, and talking about using your best of intelligence, don't let your emotions get the best of you. I mean, these are all the lessons and the values that we teach our children, that we want little Black boys and little Black girls to have. So I'm personally applauding you and your team for putting out this message in such a fun and creative way. All right, what's been the feedback so far, Brother Yaba?
Been really great, man. And like you said, it's a team effort. So big media agency, we got animation TV, we got a lot of folks helping us put this together. And the response has been really phenomenal. Obviously, we need more people to know about it, to subscribe, to watch the video, share it. I saw a clip of Roland Martin earlier saying we can't tell our stories without finances. And so we have to understand that we got to support our own and make sure that we are putting things out there, because my company, Just Like Me Inc., is all about representation. We have a Black princess you can see over my shoulder here. We have a Black superhero. They all have theme events or based on a theme.
Yeah.
So CJ is anger management and using your best self. Princess Brianna is self-love. And Just Like Me series is about know thyself is the beginning of wisdom, which is Black history from 6,000 BC up to now. So
this is awesome. Let me tell you, my online culture crew, they are loving it. A lot of heart emojis, a lot of hand claps. People are checking in and saying, Philip Young Jr., you said awesome job, Yaba. Janine, you said LOL, not that dog snitching. He sounds like Tony Baker.
He is snitching though. He dry snitching.
Oh man, Real Brooklyn said it would be real realistic if the dog was a pit bull.
Right. That's our community right there. Pit bulls, right?
Love it, bro. Janae said, I like how the people look. People are Corinna, my sister, you said you love it. CW checked in and said, proud of you, brother. This is definitely going in the direction that I think that we want to see animation, children entertainment go in. You said you're about 6 to 8 weeks out from what the series premiere is. Now, how is this going to be premiered? Is this going to be premiered on like YouTube or social media platform, or is there do you already have some conversations, or is there going to be a network to carry this?
So it's twofold. So it will premiere on our YouTube station at Just Like Me TV. The ultimate goal is really to have a streaming platform come on board, and then we can do 10 episodes, because we've already kind of laid out the season already. Actually, we laid out the first 2 seasons.
Right.
So we're ready to go. We have qualified folks on our staff. We got script writers who've been in the game for 20 years. We might be bringing on a guy who just got finished directing a show for Disney Junior. So we're building a really, really tight staff, because the one thing I want to represent, it's Black History Month, right?
Absolutely, bro.
I want to represent our ancestors the right way.
Absolutely.
So when we put the show out here, it's going to be top notch. Yes, it's going to be Black characters, but the storylines, I feel you're going to find the same storylines you find at Pixar or Marvel. We work very hard to make sure that it's layered and it's something that adults will enjoy as well as children.
What's the best place first and foremost, how can people support you? I know you've already gotten over 100,000 views or 145,000 views on YouTube. And you in one YouTube channel, then on another YouTube channel, you got like 75,000 views. So how do you want the community to support you?
2 ways. Definitely go subscribe to at Just Like Me TV, and then go purchase the books. And not just in support of me. Of course, it's going to support us. But I'm telling you, when you give these books to your child or a child in your life, we have Princess Brianna has been out since 2004. I have adult women sending me emails and responses saying, this book changed my life, because Princess Brianna is celebrating the features of Black women. It's celebrating the intelligence. And so we have a Black princess that celebrates Black women. You got a Black superhero celebrating Black boys. That's what we need in our community.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but this is phenomenal. This is absolutely phenomenal. And I appreciate you, coming on to the show, talking to us about this, because I know that once this thing starts to really, people start to get wind of the work that you're doing, getting wind of the story, Super CJ talking about it, I'm gonna be able to say, hey man, that brother came on to the Culture on the Black Star Network, and he introduced us to this fantastic show and this mighty group of characters. So I'm just very, very happy to see the work that you and your team are put together, man. I mean, it's nothing like putting out positive children entertainment, but when you're doing it in such an intentional and conscious way, it takes cartoons and it takes children entertainment to a whole different space. So again, thank you so much. Any other words that you want to share with our audience as we wrap up today's conversation?
2 quick things. One, brother, at the beginning, I like people at the beginning who support. So anytime you want me to come back, I don't care where I'm at in this life. We could be doing $1 billion. If you say, brother, can you come on and talk to us? I'm back on here talking to you guys again. So that's the first thing. Second thing is just spread the word. subscribe, spread the word. You can find our books on Amazon. You go to our website, justlikemeworld.com. Just find ways to support, because I am focused on our community. I'm focused on making sure our kids not just have these characters. We're looking to build a similar studio as Tyler Perry built for his genre of movies and TV shows. We're going to do the same thing in animation, but we're going to need the community support to do that. So I appreciate the time and bringing me on.
Yes,
and
sir.
Anytime you need me to come back, let me know.
Absolutely. Brother Yaba, thank you so much. Checking in, talking about the premiere of Super CJ. Folks, we are talking about history in the making. This brother is doing it real big. Check him out at Just Like Me TV, Just Like Me World. Also follow him on all social media platforms. And Yaba, on behalf of the talent and the crew and all of us here on the culture, my online culture crew, as well as Black Star Network, brother, thank you for the great work you're doing, changing the conversation and the narrative. And most importantly, thank you for being so good for the culture, Yaba.
Thank you, brother. Same for you. I appreciate everything you're doing. I enjoyed the show, man. You guys are crazy, but you also bring real good information. So I'm going to spread the word about you as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All
right, folks, that's going to do it for us. What a week it has certainly been. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me all throughout the week for these dynamic conversations that we've been having, everything about what's been going on with the case of our brother Tyre Nichols to so many other topics. This is why we ask you to continue to support us. First and foremost, go to blackstarnetwork.com. Do your due diligence. Support us. Make sure that you subscribe to the work that we're doing. Make sure you download the app for free on all of your devices. Make sure you subscribe so you can know that when we go live, you know exactly what's going to happen. Make sure that you share the news, share all the content that we're putting out. And of course, make sure that you support us financially. This is the type of support that we need to keep this Black media institution rocking and rolling. Support us today at blackstarnetwork.com. Also, make sure you follow us on social media at Black Star Network on IG and Twitter. We would love to connect with you. And of course, just know that we are streaming now on Amazon. If you have an Amazon Fire Stick TV, make sure you tune in. Let your family and friends know as well that we are now streaming on Amazon. We're taking it. We went to Roku. Now we're on Amazon. So you can just ask Alexa and say, Alexa, play Black Star Network. And guess what? You'll find some of the most dynamic, blackest conversations online right there, available for you right on Amazon. So make sure y'all tune in for that. But we appreciate all of your support. I want to thank my team, Keenan, Joel, Ariel, and all my control room and making today's show happen. Make sure that y'all continue to support us. I want to thank each and every one of you for my online culture crew. It has been a fantastic week. Next week, we got some very special guests that's going to be joining us, some more dope conversation and so much more. All right, stay tuned. Up next is RMU, Roland Martin Unfiltered. As always, never be afraid to challenge what's wrong. Stand for what's right while being yourself in the process. God willing, we'll talk on Monday for another exciting edition of The Culture right here on the Black Star Network. Talk to you soon. Peace.